What's up, everybody? My name's TJ Hyde. I'm not going to edit this video because the finals came out like yesterday. I got to keep playing the finals. So just a really quick video so that I can get back to, my crack addiction. I have to make a video on the day before because I was one of the few people that was optimistic about this release. Unfortunately, we all know how this game ended up. It's fucking horrible, which is whatever. But as just a really quick snippet on my review, I'm going to be reading off my Steam review that I made, just to kind of show you guys exactly what I thought. It's also on my community posts if you want to read it there and follow along. But to get started, I've got 6 pros. Some of these being there was no microtransactions in the big W. I think that would have been really scummy if they added microtransactions with the state that it's in. The gunplay felt pretty good, and the gun customization felt pretty good. The traders were streamlined, easy to understand, and pretty easy to navigate. Reasonable prices, all that stuff. The inventory is pretty streamlined. It's just a step above DayZ if that's something that interests you. And the hub is really cool. Woodbury's a really cool area to explore. Now, moving on to the cons, the servers are fucking eating it for launch day. Everything is full. Most NA players are playing on Asian servers right now because those ones aren't quite as full. I'm sure now it's getting better that people, like half the buyers of Refund, I'm sure you could get in and play now. It's insanely buggy. I had plenty of bugs on stream. Only 2 of them were game breaking, though. Most of them were just visual or audio or whatever. Uh, One that wasn't on my list, the alarms in the game are fucking horrible. There's alarms everywhere. There's alarms in the cars, in the buildings, all going off at all times. It's fucking terrible. There's so many players on the servers that zombies are being killed as soon as they are spawning in, which means you can go like 30, 40 minutes without ever seeing a single zombie. And when you do, the zombies aren't particularly challenging either. The same assets are used for lootable and unlootable containers, making looting a really frustrating experience. This is kind of like if you played Tarkov and they have duffel bags everywhere, right? Except maybe only 3 of them you can actually open, despite the fact if they everything is the same duffel bag, right? They're all the same duffel bag, but you can only open 3 of them. That this game does that super well. Like there's boxes everywhere. They're the same assets, but there's only X amount of them that you can loot. So it makes looting really frustrating because you run up to a box thinking you're going to get something. Turns out you can't even open it. The map is designed with vaulting in mind, but they didn't add vaulting. Whoever did this, I actually have no clue. The map would work so much more fluidly if you could vault things, but no vaulting. Honestly, like what we're this, it's so disappointing. Um, it's a zombie game with no melee, which means you're always shooting loud weapons, which means you're always going to get third partied, unless you just can't find anyone. I will give them a little bit of credit. It is an open world game. People that saying it's not open world are just fucking liars. They're not standing true to the definition. But it's an open world game with an insanely small map. For you Tarkov players out there, it's about the size of Shoreline and a half. So if you took Shoreline and like did 1.5 times the size of Shoreline, that's about the map size that you're looking. Base building is completely cosmetic and borderline pointless outside of your storage upgrades that you can do. So I don't even know why that's there. Almost 0 buildings are enterable, making the map feel deserted and annoying to traverse, as most lootables are in the streets, and it's just super odd. It's super dull to not go into these buildings. You're just always in the street, always, all the time. There's only like 5 or 6 buildings that you um this was my biggest pet peeve. You pick a class and a skill set at the beginning that add like an MMORPG kind of thing, right? So it's like your strength and stamina in Tarkov, right? Um, but then it forgets that it asked you to do that. So there's no skill system in the game right now. Or if there is, there's no tab to see how it operates. There's no skills at all. So it asks you to pick these skills at the beginning. It makes a really big deal about picking these skills in the beginning, and then it doesn't do anything with it in the game. And I think most people forgot that they even did that, and that's such a bad game. Um, the design of the assets is super dry and unappealing. Everything looks copy pasted. There's no unique hotspots or anything like that. For example, I ran into a police station and looted a police station without knowing I was in a police station. It just looked like everything else. There's no military hotspots, which is kind of lame. I was really looking forward to more. You can't loot crates that other players have already looted, which means when everyone's spawning in the same spot on this super small map, like as I said, Tarkov players 1.5 times the size of Shoreline, and you're probably about I want to say 50 to 100 players per server. So that's a lot of people to have in that server, which means you're basically never looting anything. Loot crates are always taken. And to add even more salt to that wound, all your quest items spawn in those loot crates. So if you're looking in an area for a quest item, you have to wait for the loot crates to reset in order to get your quest item. It makes questing really frustrating and terrible. Otherwise, that is actually everything that I have in my review. I'm sure I could do a more in-depth review on everything that I do and don't like about the game. In general, it's a really good base, and I think if they gave it about 2 more years in development, it could have been really good. I think the general consensus is that they didn't fuck up the base of what they have right now, but they just needed more time to develop the game. It just wasn't full enough. And I think in 1 to 2 years, it can be a really good game if they choose to stick with it that long. And I think this is a good testament to why we don't have these like secret game developments like the day before was doing. Don't try to make your game so secret. Do a fucking beta test, clean stuff up, and then launch your release. Otherwise, I gotta go play the final. Um, but thank you for listening, everyone. I will be live again tonight playing the finals, both on YouTube and on twitch.tv/TJHide. So feel free to join me there. Otherwise, have a good day, everyone.